Anti-Venom is here. How good are the symbiotes now? We are going to discuss that in your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. Plus, Alpha Raids are back, new challenges, and a lot more. And I'm discussing that all with my brother, Tony Scungili. And if you're ready for it, Tony, tell him what to do, brother.
Get ready to take a quantum leap.
ValleyFlyin.
Woo! What is up, Valley Maniacs? I am ValleyFlyin. I am joined by my brother, Tony Scungili. Welcome to your Marvel Strike Force Weekly News Update. What is up, brother Tony? How have you been?
Living the dream, brother. How you doing today?
I am doing well. There's been a lot of hype, a lot of good things going on in the world of Marvel Strike Force, and a lot of it has to do with this new Symbiote team and Anti-Venom. How are you liking these guys?
Well, so I got my Anti-Venom, but unfortunately, because there's this milestone going on and I refuse to spend more than like 2 million gold a day, I've been relegating myself to only upgrading him slowly. So my poor Anti-Venom is only like 40k right now. But wait, no, I'll get to him in a minute, and then he'll probably get to about 60k. You know,
the slow grind. The slow grind. I like it.
I think the core of the Symbiote team was just so good that basically they could have added anything to the team and make it better. But Anti-Venom is kind of that missing piece of the puzzle that, you know, not only has some level of self-sustain, but gives the entire team sustain and the ability to make sure that they're not in trouble with heal blocks or blinds or anything like that. So overall, like, I'm impressed by Anti-Venom. I don't think he was overrated or, you know, overhyped. I think he is a great character, but he still is just one character that is a relatively reasonable unlock. So yeah. I'm looking forward to using this more.
Now, I gotta say, I have not seen the community this hyped over a single character for a long time. Let's go check him out because he's a very good character. And I want to know, how hyped were you when you saw his kit, you found out he is coming to the game, and what he adds to this already impressive team? Before Scream, before Anti-Venom, this is already a pretty good team. Now with these two members, how much hype do you have about this team and Anti-Venom, what he brings to this? Because he kind of fills in all the pieces that they were missing from this initial team.
Yeah, I think if you look at him as a character outside of his team, he's like, okay. But if you look at him as what the team was missing to begin with, he becomes almost the best third character on the team, if that kind of makes sense. And not because of damage, not because of anything else, but just because he fills that little gap, like you said. Like, he gives them that little res chance. He can remove debuffs. He has some decent attacks. All in all, he's just a good character. And because he slots so easily into a team that gives him sustain, that lets him be useful in a lot of game modes, I think he might be, with like very few exceptions, one of the coolest characters they've come out with in, I don't know, a couple months at least.
When do you remember the community being this hyped about a character? Because I think it might have to go back to maybe Asgardian's Black Bolt that I've seen the community so hype, even Black Order, maybe even more recent with the Black Order. But have you seen the, like, because most of the time
Spider-Man stands out as like the most hype we were about a character, and you know, there's always other reasons. It's not just abilities. Like, Anti-Venom is a cool character from the comics, and a lot of like symbiotes in general are cool characters from the comics. So like, I don't think people were as hyped for Emma, even though Emma is like arguably a superior character to him. But like, it's not like, you know what I mean when I say hype? I don't mean like she's not good. I don't think people weren't like recognizing that she was good. I just don't think that like the overall, like, this character is the best, really kind of held up. But Anti-Venom has been like pretty intense when you look at like how people were excited. I guarantee you, I know people who don't really spend money that were like, I'm buying Anti-Venom. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, normally the questions are, when is this character coming to the game? When can we farm this character? The questions about Anti-Venom, when can we buy Anti-Venom? I want to buy Anti-Venom. When is he available for purchase? I don't think I've ever seen the community this like willing to spend money over a single character than Anti-Venom. And it comes after one of the most apathetic character releases as well, which is very, very...
She-Hulk.
Yeah. It's very stark contrast to She-Hulk, the community's reaction to Anti-Venom.
No, they have to break up the hype of Scream. They're like, you happy about Scream? Cool, here's the skip.
We're gonna get to her because I'm still kind of we've been able to play test her as a community for a little bit. I'm still confused about her, but so we'll come back to her. But yeah, very disappointing with her. But let's talk about the hype team right here. There's the Symbiotes. Now, I think a lot of people were questioning. You know, the raid team, yeah, they're pretty good in the raids already. But what about arena? What about war? How good are these guys? I know you haven't built up yours. I haven't built up mine. They compete in arena yet. But what are you hearing about this team in arena? Are they able to beat Black Order? Are they able to punch up in Black Order? And what kind of war matchups are you hearing about so far with this full Black Order, full Symbiote team? Excuse me.
So in my alliance, quite a few people have a relatively diesel version of this team.
Nice.
You know, like just throwing it out there. And
what are the rare alliances that do, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no one else is going to have this. And what I've noticed is, well, there's a couple of things that these two characters, Scream and Anti-Venom, do that you wouldn't necessarily plan on. Like, they sure up fights that previously had a little bit of RNG. Like, this team crushes as Guardians, is relatively acceptable against like mercs, you know, compared to your investment versus theirs. And that's not saying it won't punch up, but like, it's a 500k mercs team and your symbiotes are 200k. You're probably not going to do too much damage, but like, you know, there's a reasonable line of value that I've seen. I haven't seen much in terms of a lot of fights because, you know, most teams have a basic counter. And very few times do people experience a war where they can go out and test. As for arena, so this is a weird thing that I can say firsthand, I'm not really great at talking about, because everyone talks about whether this team will be able to beat the Black Order. And I think they have the parts to do so, just like I think the Sinister Six team have the independent parts to beat the Black Order. Mm-hmm. But it comes down to investment. Most Black Orders have been incredibly high invested in, whether they're, you know, 3-star, 4-star characters, all tier 14, or maxed out to the gills 700k versions of team on war defense. Most Black Orders, they've been around for longer. There's a lot of investment in them, and they've been a good team, both on war offense and defense and arena. I've been fighting Black Order since they came out, and I have a team that's been beating them, you know, and I can tell you right now, it's Sinister, Phoenix, Black Bolt, Ebony Maw, and Emma. That I just beat Black Order.
I was
teams.
like, oh, are you doing without Emma?
And that's for arena, you know? No, that's for arena specifically. And then in war, I tend to use Ultron plus a different team, depending on the power level of my team versus theirs. So the hardest part is war, right? Like, that's what most people run into. We have teams that are designed to go in and kill Proxima. This way, the next fight is easier. We have teams that are designed to try to one-shot it. Usually, it has to be in a very high investment team. Can this team beat them? I think they have the pieces. But again, it comes down to certain things. Like, does Scream survive? Is your Scream strong enough to survive? I don't think... If you look at the way the rosters kind of break out, I'm looking at your team. You have 105k Symbiote Spider-Man, 102k Carnage, and then the rest of your guys are about 90k, give or take. That's a very well-balanced team. My Scream is only 70k, and I can't bring her into U7. So I don't. You know, like, so I just don't. I just use other characters. But over time, I do think that the closer in balance, and like when you look at characters like Anti-Venom, if you have a 60, 50k Anti-Venom on your team, what's his heal going to do? You know, like, how much is he going to help those teams? Yeah, he ain't going to do anything. He's going to get gibbed because of, in a blitz fight, he's going to get insta-gibbed, and it's going to be there. So I think that's a separation of like the three people everyone's been working on for a long time versus these two new characters. I don't think many players, not a lot, just many, have the investment line at a point where they're going to feel how good this team is. Like I said, I think they have the pieces that can beat Black Order. I think they have, between now with Anti-Venom's ability to cleanse buffs, the ability to steal a bunch of buffs off of, or flip, you know, technically, buffs with his ultimate. I think they have the pieces.
And bringing
that
Scream back alive, because Scream dies a lot.
Yeah, she really does. You know, I don't know if it's a 1-for-1. I don't. But I do think that there is something in this team. And I think that if you're looking for all of the value in one team, you're going to be disappointed. But if you do try to find, what they're good at, you're probably going to be able to build a kind of hybrid version of teams like this and pull it off. I think Symbiote, Spider-Man, Carnage, and maybe just Anti-Venom, even though he won't res, but the rest of his abilities might be part of a team that can beat the Black Order, that kind of thing. I think Anti-Venom is really powerful, probably more as powerful to the team as Carnage. Carnage is basically, that speed up.
The speed.
And just how they interact makes him really important. So
I've been hearing some different reports. There's a lot of RNG involved in that fight. Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. Anti-Venom needs to bring Scream back to life because usually Scream dies in that fight, but it doesn't seem like a consistent team. I think the team that you mentioned, or a lot of different hybrid teams that have Emma, is a more consistent counter to a Black Order, especially in Arena. And, like you said, there's a bunch of different ways you could tackle them in War, but let's move on to where I think they're supposed to shine. And that is the raids. Now, I have tried to auto a few of the earlier nodes in Ultima 7.5. I did not have them maxed at the time, as I almost do now with what I can do with my gold and red stars. But what are you hearing? Are you hearing about anybody that has them closer to the max? Are they able to not just beat Ultima 7.5? Are they able to auto Ultima 7.5, even some of these tougher nodes?
I'm not going to say they're not capable of doing it. That would be silly.
Have you seen? Maybe they can, but have you heard reports of it yet? I've seen
a over 500k team go in. The problem with autoing with this team is most of them are stupid. I mean it. Like the symbiotes are dumb. Carnage is going to ult somebody randomly.
They got a complicated kit. Like BKT, they had a very easy kit.
Yeah, the BKT did Rocket ult yet? Well, let Rocket ult again. Like Rocket hasn't ulted enough. This team is more of like a finesse. Like you can't just immediately expect the characters who are all capable of ulting on turn 1 to ult on turn 1. You're not guaranteed that Carnage, special is going to hit the right person, even if you're selecting targets. You're not guaranteed that what you really wanted to do on that turn was the Venom spread instead of the ability block or the buff flip. That team is just not designed to be phenomenal. Now, granted, if the team is overpowered for the content, of course they'll be able to auto.
Yeah, I mean, Greek raid, sure. Greek raid, sure.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Ultima 7.5
No one's impressed by your 500k team beating up like nerds in U6.
Not Ultima's 2, not almost 30.
Yeah.
No, Ultima 7.5 is what we're talking about, autoing that.
So if you can win in 7.2 on auto, like power to you. At 7.5, my Scream is like I said, she's like almost 80k and she cannot even stay alive.
This team without Anti-Venom was able to clear most of Ultima 7.5, but not auto it. So that's the question here. Are they able to auto this? And from my experience, no, their cooldowns didn't line up. Going into certain nodes, you needed them attack certain enemies, then they're just it does, exactly like you say, require a little more finesse than just a full overpowering team like BKT was to Ultima 6. I don't think this is the BKT of Ultima 7.5, but very good if you're willing to play this team, is my opinion on this one.
Oh yeah. And the team I use to go through the first on U7 to 5, like the team I used to go through the first ones actually doesn't have a single symbiote in it. I save the symbiotes for the harder nodes later. But they could auto it if you build them up. Those early nodes, they could auto it. Maybe not the whole raid. But I auto with Black Bolt, Yo-Yo, Hela, Shuri, and Emma. Like that team I just put on auto, and the first 6 fights I do right up, before the third boss fight, give or take. Maybe I take a boss, maybe I don't. Those fights can be autoed. I might have to select targets here and there, but I don't really ever have to choose when they take their action. And a lot of that comes to like how powerful Emma's turn meter control and the offense down from Yo-Yo is. A lot of it comes down to Shuri having healer ISO 8s and just constantly throwing out heals every time she takes a turn. She's pretty fast. So, but that's the team I use. And then once I get to the third boss node and beyond in U7.5, I'm like, let's try the symbiotes, or let's try some kind of hybrid team with the symbiotes. And that's where I plan on using them, because those fights I probably wasn't autoing too much to begin with. There's a little bit more power in those fights, especially even if you are trying to push for U7.2 or 3. The scaling after the third boss node, once you get into off the the pillars, it does get a little bit harder. So you probably aren't autoing, and if you are autoing those last couple nodes, maybe it's time to push up to the next U7 difficulty. Like maybe go for 60% on another one, kind of thing.
Yeah, get better rewards. There's better rewards out.
Yeah.
Speaking of this team, just a little more depth. ISO 8. What are you finding is the best class for each of these characters? Have you tested this out? Are you hearing from the community what their opinions are on this best ISO 8? What you're hearing on this, or theory crafted?
I'm going to just go ahead and tell you what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I will let the comment section of your YouTube tell me I'm wrong.
Sweet.
That's all I'm going to do. Okay.
Right.
So for the full team,
okay,
I have Raider on Scream and Symbiote Spider-Man.
Oh, I have the same. Okay.
I have Skirmisher on Carnage.
Oh, I have the same.
I have Stryker on Venom.
Okay.
And I currently have Stryker on Anti-Venom, but I might swap it to something else. What that something else is, I don't know. I just figured Stryker makes sense on Anti-Venom. That's what I'm currently doing.
That's my current setup as well.
I don't know.
I wrote it down.
It might be wrong. Now, some people say like just put healer on everything, and you know what? Probably they would never die.
Yeah, they're taking enough. They're taking enough turns that you're going to get a lot. After you get that initial ball rolling, they're taking enough turns that you're just getting heals, a lot of heals. So
now they're just so good that with the exception of Fortifier, which none of them need, maybe Scream.
Someone would have to test at level 5 because level 1 of Fortifier kind of sucks.
Yeah, no, there's like I said, there's 6 ISO 8 classes. I'm sorry, there are 6 ISO 8 classes. It's the regular 5 and then Skirmisher rank 5 because it gives you 50% focus and that's good enough. But like Fortifier rank 5, man, you got to be spending quite a bit of money to be able to jump
let somebody else test that to see if that's worth it.
Someone else can tell me that stuff.
Yeah.
But like another thing I'll tell you is my Carnage is one of the strongest members of that team. Okay. Not as strong as Symbiote Spider-Man, but his health pool is ridiculous. So, almost 300k. My Carnage. So sometimes I put healer on him because one, he's taking like 40 turns like every time he takes an action, and his heal isn't unreasonable. So if you're not having a full team set up, or if your team can't sustain that much because maybe they're not as high investment, or maybe your Carnage and your Symbiote Spider-Man are really strong and the rest of the guys are a little weak, that heal on Carnage is pretty reasonable. Mine heals for like almost 20k every time he takes a turn, plus the regen stack. So healer, that kind of thing, that feels like something you do as you're building the team up. Like, you say you have the entire team at 30 or 40k. Once you get to higher power numbers, once you're pushing on that limit of 100k power on a character, that's when you're going to start wanting to like cherry pick the ISO 8s to make them stronger, but at the same time, put ISO 8s in them. That's a stat increase.
Something.
Yeah. At least bring them to 3, like at least bring them to ISO 8 rank 3, because that's a 6% stat increase. That's not nothing. That's a lot of stats.
I'm looking forward to experimenting. Maybe the secret to auto is having them all healers, but currently I'm using the exact same one. A good offense is a good defense is a good offense. So I have them more offense based right now.
The best offense is a good offense. That's just kill everything.
Yeah.
No one can hurt you if they're
better.
dead.
That's better than mine. Do that. To unlock our boy Anti-Venom, we got these waking nightmare milestones coming up, and let's talk about these. We have Fright Light Orbs is how we're going to attain them through Orbs. You're going to open them, you're going to get gold, gear, shards for characters, and then some of these limited time traits, and then Anti-Venom at a higher drop rate. What is your drop rate expectations for Anti-Venom on this? Maybe 3%?
We've seen this before. 4%,
5%. Do you think it's going to follow some of the exact
Ghost
same?
Ghost Rider was released like this. Cyclops was released like this. Negasonic was very similar.
What was their drop rate in that? And what should we be expecting per
maybe orb? 17, somewhere between 15 and 20%. It wasn't high.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much? Do you remember how much you were getting per orb?
But I will say this. Yes, 5 or 8. Remember if you remember, those orbs, you would get like 5, but the special thing you could get was 8. So I don't think you're going to be getting, unless they change something, I don't think you're going to be getting that. But now keep in mind, there will be shards in the milestones for this event.
Yeah.
The same way they did with Negasonic, the same way they did with Cyclops. Yeah, the orbs themselves, you're probably not going to be getting too many. Like 5 to 8 is where my brain is telling me this is. And then the min is 0 because you could get all other characters. Okay. Dream Warriors Milestones. Shades of Nightmare on Elm Street right there. You're using characters in Arena and Blitz with that Mass Caper trait that is in game right now. And you score points by winning in Blitz. And that is why it's called the Waking Nightmare, because you have to Blitz so much. How much are you going to grind on Blitz for this character? It depends on the Blitz. You know, like when these kind of things happen, I tend to drop everything down to, I stay in, like I talked about this before, like tier 1, 2, and 3 of Blitz. So if the Blitz is like, for example, who's the Blitz right now? Scientist Supreme, for me, useless character. She's already 7. She's got everything. So if the event was running right now, I would just be like, well, I'm going to stay in tier 1, 2, and 3, and then I'll lose with, characters and fight my way back up again. This way, I care more about the victories than I do about wasting my time. And you're not losing any fights in tier 1, 2, or 3. You might not be losing any fights in tier 7 or 8. Power to you. But I know I don't want to have to deal with the time it takes to win those fights. Me
either.
I want to win. I want to quick auto, win that fight, and walk away. So I'm going to stay in the low tiers.
Scopely, when are we getting this Auto Blitz feature? December 2020 is too long. Let's get it earlier than that. Come on, guys.
Oh, you don't want to hear any more about that Auto Blitz. Let me tell you something real quick about Auto Blitz. You are not guaranteed to win.
That's fine. That's fine.
You are not guaranteed to win.
It's worth the time savings. It's worth the time savings, though.
Is it?
For me, it is.
How many points? How many points you plan on losing out on for that multi?
I don't know, but if it's taking me 40 minutes per rotation and it could take me 3 for my whole team, I could do that a lot more. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Auto Blitz is not going to be auto succeed at Blitz. It's just going to be
but it's gonna skip the load time, and a team that I could go in and hit auto right away, they're gonna win.
In theory, you're probably going to hit your blitzes faster. So because every 2 hours, then you could just set a timer and click auto, and you might be blitzing more often. If that makes sense, because you're not actually blitzing
more often, but less total time in a day blitzing.
Yeah, you're already blitzing for 3 minutes
because you don't have this load time. It's all right. Anyway, I diverged from the topic because it needed to be said. We need this Auto Blitz feature now, guys. Well, not only can you score points in blitzing with his milestones, but you also have these Lucid Dream milestones where you need to team up with your alliance in raids using the Mass Caper characters, and I believe all the Symbiotes have that Mass Caper tag, right?
Oh yeah.
So if you're already invested in your Symbiotes, super easy, guys. And you could earn Anti-Venom Shard, Fright or Fragments, training modules, very geared. I don't remember how difficult these were. I think I do not remember it because it was pretty easy. How difficult was this to obtain just by normal Blitz activity for mid-game and on players?
Blitz activity.
I'm sorry, raid activity with your alliance. Yes, these Lucid.
So we
Dream
didn't actually. Negasonic didn't actually have raids. It was just in Arena. But I will tell you, I remember my Arena shard literally freezing wherever we were because nobody was using their real team because they were just taking the X Force in. They were just X forcing the good team you had because it didn't matter if you won or lost. You just had to do the fight. So 5 of my 5 Arena attacks every day was just X-Force, quick auto, lose, fight over.
Well, we got the arena battles, but we also got the raid battles. We got Blitz, Arena, and raid covers with all these milestones. Yeah. So,
and now that raid makes sense because with the X-Force, nobody was going to use them to win in raid fights. But there's a good 20 characters with the mask tag. It's realistic that you can put together a team of some of them, let alone if you have the symbiotes or anything like that, and really push forward. So I think that this is a reasonable milestone depending on how wide your roster is. I think that it's going to obviously be a harder milestone. So a lot of people in alliances are going to have to accept. Right? Yeah, they're going to have to accept that this is kind of more important than raid season. Completing this team as a group is relatively more important than, just having a particularly great war season or raid season. Now,
I remember in the past we did drop down to Ultimate 6 just so we could use all these characters, and maybe it was X-Force, I don't know, but it was one of these previous mini milestone characters that we dropped down and we're doing this. But you think for some of these lower alliances that maybe don't have the symbiotes, aren't able to use them in the raids, that they should drop down just to get these milestones for Anti-Venom? Is he that important of a character?
I would say that if you have Symbiote Spider-Man, and he's a $50 character in USD, 89 in Australian. So like, if I'm just gonna say, I've always said it's more important to have a character, whether you plan on using them or not, than to need a character and not have them because of money. So my advice would be, whatever it takes for you guys as an alliance or you as a player to get him without spending money or without spending a ton of money, take it. Like, he's good. Is he the best character in the game? No. Is he relevant to his team? Yeah, and it's definitely worth it. So I would recommend, if you have to drop down and do U6 because your alliance isn't built up, maybe like deviate a little. Maybe do like every other raid a U6 just to get the extra points. Do the math on the milestones too. We haven't really seen them yet. It might be possible that like you don't need every single person pumping out every single thing to get all the milestones, or you might have enough people in your alliance. It's hard. I know I said the bad thing. Do the math. I'm sorry. Just wail harder. Just buy them.
Harder. Yeah, don't do math. Just get the credit card out. It's easier. But all right, let's go to this last one right here, the Night Terrors milestone. You're getting points by opening these Fright Orbs. We've seen this in previous milestone events. We've seen big milestone events with a lot of rewards where it's very hard to get these. We've seen easy ones with easier, not as good rewards. What are you thinking for this one? Do you think these are some big milestone rewards or some little ones for opening these Fright Orbs for Anti-Venom?
Oh no, this is the 40 one, man. This is the one where it's like, this is the one where you got to open like, what is it, like 30 orbs or something? There's 40 different milestones. The last 10 are all, mini uniques. Like that's what we're getting with this one. Okay. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Not the one with all the character shards and the red stars and all the cool stuff.
Oh no, yes, that one too. Yes, no, that one too.
That one.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait,
yeah,
the big one. You think this is
that's the big
good
one.
Rewards?
This is the big one because this is the one that's gated behind the number of the orbs you open. Okay. So I would be shocked if that one. I wish. Don't get me wrong. It's too late for them to change it because they don't know how to code. So like, they're not going to undo it because I'm saying it. But no, I'm fairly confident this milestone is going to be the one that's got.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope they're very generous with this.
I think this event is going to give you a ton of resources if you can complete it. So like, go for it.
I'm going hard, and I think judging by how hyped the community was where Anti-Venom is, I think everybody's going hard in this event. All right, we got some new challenge tiers this past week. All 6 of these got some new tiers. Two new tiers added for everyone, some more difficult than others. Let's talk about the difficulty first of all of these. What was your thoughts on the difficulty for the new challenge tiers? Some were easier than others because of who we could use, but some not as difficult, or it's not as easy.
I think so. Remember way back when we were telling them we needed more challenge tiers, and they're like, we had challenge tiers prepared the whole time, and then they released the challenge tiers that they said they wouldn't have, like, outside of Fix MSF, and then all of the characters had their old kits because they literally did have the challenge tiers done because they never released them. Those challenge tiers were based on content that like we had already passed. These challenge tiers are more accurate to our current power level. These challenge tiers are exactly what they sound like, challenge tiers. So some of them I was able to walk right over. I think the blaster one gave me the most difficulty.
I think the blaster one is the hardest for everybody. Yeah, because blasters don't have sustainability.
Yeah, like I put Cable on there. I'm like, please take a hit, Cable. Please take a hit. But some of them, like I know some people for the Cosmic one, they use the Black Order. I actually used a weird hybrid team of Black Order with Invisible Woman. So some of them were just kind of like, hey, just like anything else in this game, where you are at the game gives you the opportunity to do it. These are not for everybody to immediately walk through. That said, you know,
Yes.
sometimes maybe some of them are a little bit harder than they need to be, considering the fact that the rewards aren't quantum leap, like the quantum leap in power that you require in order to like beat them versus like the previous tiers isn't like commensurate with the amount of rewards that we get for them in some cases. In other cases, it is pretty reasonable.
We'll talk about the rewards.
Yeah.
Some are better than others. But yeah, so when we got the last time they upped the difficulty, they added new tiers to these challenges. It seemed like it took a lot of the community weeks, maybe months to get these. And I know a lot of people were passing these 2 new tiers on day 1 of these. Do you think this was easier and than the last time they raised it? I'm not sure if we had the level cap before that at that point, but it seemed like it was a lot harder. Where do you think that came from, the ramp up in difficulty before and not as much, or do you think maybe just we've progressed our roster enough that it seemed a little easier than the previous 2 challenge tiers that we got?
I think the natural progression of the game itself has led us to work on characters that inherently were good here, if that makes sense. Like
it does.
Like I think that, you know, because one fight was like protectors and controllers, and you can look at your protector and controller roster and be like, man, these guys are good.
Yeah.
Like I worked on Yo-Yo and Thanos or Thanos, and I'm like, I could use them, you know? Like I think that because of how we worked on characters throughout the course of time, and we technically needed those characters to pass the previous tier, a lot of those characters like Black Bolt for a blaster, or, you know, the Symbiotes for City, I think that they just had a lot of value and people worked on them. And as a result of it, they ended up having a strong enough character or team to do a lot of the content. So I think the progression of the game itself is what allowed the people like myself and you know, 8 million, 9 million power rosters to just kind of go like walk right through. And then everybody else is either, you know, still working on a team that's capable of doing it, or maybe missing one character investment. But this is end game content. This is stuff for level 75, for, you know, people who have a lot of teams, people who have access to a lot of characters, people who are doing well in war. That's what it is. So it's not like a stop everything and hit the max milestone, more of a, as you work on the characters that you should be working on, you'll get there in time. But there are some that you want more than others, like the gold one. That's great. And I'm telling you, you're not doing it with the defenders, you know, like,
oh, what is there another city team that you should be using for this? What city team should you use for the gold rush?
Hand is a city team. Hand is a city team. I think.
But are they better than the defenders?
And of course, the Sinister Six is a city team, if I recall.
Yeah, I guess the Sinister Six, right? Unless you can pick up somebody else.
You know what? I heard a rumor that there was a city character called Symbiote Spider-Man that's pretty good.
Oh, I'll have to research him.
You find out more about him.
All right, but in all seriousness, I think for me, as far as difficulty, I built up a lot of these characters that I used in these for Dark Dimension 3, so I think that kind of helped with the spike in difficulty, because I think when the other challenge tier came out, I had no reason to build any of these characters, and I think I was saving for DD3 at the time, so that might have to do with it. But we talked a little bit about these rewards. Gold Rush, very important. What do you think of these reward increases? I mean, when we go to Training Day, we look at these. We went from 9 at tier 12, 18 to tier 14. And considering that we're doing this 3 times each time this is run, 3 times per week, what do you think of the increase in rewards for some of these challenges? Or is it individual? Then some are good, some are bad?
I can tell you in all honesty, I haven't needed training materials in... Like, at no point have I unlocked a character and went, oh no, training materials are why I can't max them out. I get that
every new character, dude.
Yeah, like every new character, I'm like, hold on. And they're 75. Oh, I'm at a gold.
I'm like, oh man, I wish I had the training materials to get them up to 75.
You really?
Yes. And training materials is my bottleneck. Yeah, I got a crap load of gold. I'm training materials.
Trust me, I know a lot of people are.
My training materials are low. Like, so for me, this is a big one.
How many tier 3 ability materials do you have? I'm just asking for a friend. Like, just go in, quick reward. I need to know. Quick rewards on ability enhancements. How many tier 3 ability materials?
55,000.
Yeah, okay, same. So I was gonna say, like, there's some things I have way too much of, You know,
let's get the blue. The 52. I got more purple than blue.
And you definitely have more both of them than green. Check out green. Scroll to the left. You're going to have like 20,000 green, I promise you.
Okay, very close. 19.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because we're not getting any more green. So every new character that comes out just eats from the pool, from the dead pool.
Oh, that's true. Hilarious. Yeah, we're not doing it down there anymore.
Just to let you know, at current rate, we have enough, assuming we get no more green ability materials, we have enough to level up the next 37 characters without even like breaking under 10K.
But what happens to that? Oh, 10K. Okay, I was like, what happens at 38? Because you know those are coming. And every month, right? So
yeah. So when it comes to the actual rewards on these, like, dude, I'm sure it's great, but like the people who need the training materials are the people who can't necessarily do the hardest fight. So the training material reward structure is like cool, but like raise them all up.
I need training mats.
Level up too.
I need training mats. Orb fragments is cool. Catalyst to change. These went up decently. Went up from 612 to 916 at the highest level, and still very hard. So not that bad. And then again, got to multiply these because you get 3 chances every time, and then 3 per week. So over time,
did you skip over the increase in orb fragments? You go back to orb fragments.
Orb fragments,
that's literally the best one.
Was there an increase in orb fragments?
You get 1.5 red star orbs every time you complete that last one. That's a huge increase.
All right, instead of 1, you get all right.
Instead of 1.25, you literally get 1.5 full orbs for completing it. So like the 3 times a week, like is that enough? No, I want 15. Shut up, give me all of them. But that's a big increase. That's adding to your base level 5 plus whatever you do. Like, that's a big number of increase. It's just showing that red star orbs, as time has progressed, are becoming, I don't want to say less valuable, but
more prevalent.
More characters.
More prevalent.
Well, they have to be more prevalent because there's more characters in them. So, and the same thing as premium orbs. Like, well, red star orbs aren't really worth it when there's 150 different characters you can pull out of them. And you pull a 7 red star and it's hand archer, and you're great.
Stop with these orbs. Give us all promotion credits from now on.
Yes.
Arena store got updated. We got our first farmable member of the Black Order that was not previously farmable in Corvus Glaive adding now. Obviously, there are going to be more farmable characters. Do you think the next few characters are going to be Black Order characters, Proxima, Cull, or do you think it's other characters that we haven't seen in a while, like Red Skull, Beast? Maybe they go crazy and give us Minerva. What do you think is next in stores as far as farmable?
It is hard to imagine them giving us Corvus Glaive and not the other 2. Like that's the weirdest flex I've ever seen. If they're like, here's Corvus Glaive and now Beast, I'm like, no one wanted Beast. Like, what are you doing?
You don't think they would do that? You don't think that's outside the realm of possibilities for?
No, I never said that. Okay. I never said that. Remember, there's Scopely and Box Next always have 3 options. There's the good option, the bad option, and the horrendous one, and they hard U-turn into that horrendous option. So it's possible, but I just don't see it happening.
Beast.
Yeah, right. No, Red Skull. Red Skull, finally. Where are all these characters? They came out at the beginning of the year. Where's Taskmaster? So, like, yes, great, wonderful. Now, originally, I was under the impression that the actual Black Order team, the Black Order plus Thanos, was going to be needed to unlock a legendary. Now, obviously, things have gone crazy this year. We've gotten different characters. Characters have been pushed back. We're finally getting. Never mind, not saying that out yet. But we're getting some other stuff.
Rumor section.
Yeah. So we're getting stuff, but things are all over the place because they had to like adapt. A lot of people had to adapt. So I get that, but like if that's changed, okay, cool. It's been a while. I stopped working on my Black Order. I got them to like 350K and I was like, they're good. That's good enough because they're all stuck at 4-star. I don't want to spend money on them. Because 350K Black Order team is beating 500K on defense. So like, okay. Like maybe it's not beating 700K teams, but like if I can't get shards on them, it doesn't matter how many red star. My Corvus, I think, is 6 or 5 red star. He's just sitting at 4. Like, hello, I'm not giving him money for Corvus Glaive.
Well, let's say the next few characters are Black Order.
Farm them.
Well, let's say they are Black Order. War Store, Raid Store, Doom Chapter 2. Where are you thinking they're gonna go to?
One will get a node and one will get a store. Honestly, they'll probably put somebody in the Blitz store to remind you of how sad it is that Domino's in the Blitz store.
All right, and the Alpha Raids are back, and this is the one Greek raid that does have a city lane, and I think a lot of people are going to be jealous of the people that do get assigned that city node in the Greeks. How jealous should they be?
Well, you get to play with the new toy. Like, I want to play with my new toys. But yeah, I'm going to walk over Cosmic or Global too, but like, but I want to play with my new toys. Like,
it used to be Cosmic because then you could try out your Black Order, but now it's City. City's the cool one. The cool kids in the block.
Give me Global and I'm like, whatever, Marauders, just go figure it out. And then the Marauders figure it out, you know, or Marauders plus Shuri because I'll pull out like Mystique or something. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, go coast to coast. You know, or if you have Ultron, you're just like, Ultron, figure it out, nerd. And in the Cosmic lane, you had like 10 teams. Like, oh, do you have a Guardians team? They'll be okay, reasonably. Or do you have the Black Order? They're great too. Like, you know, there was options everywhere. If you had Minerva, you had the Cosmic lane, basically. But the City lane, for the longest time, it was like relegated to the people who had Defenders, like those guys.
Yeah. Who had the defenders? All right, the three of you guys,
like,
you're the City lane.
Teams of like Defenders, and like maybe you had a really high red star on like Miles, and you're like, or Brawlers. You were able at some point. You were like, all right, Miles, Night Nurse, Ms. Marvel, go figure it out, guys. We need you.
We finally got the teams to do these lanes.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh, we have too many good characters.
Yeah,
we have like so yeah, like you said, how jealous? I mean, it's a new toy. We're all going to be fighting for it. And but again, we're doing like, we don't have the slider for this yet, you know, like so. All these Greek raids, we've been beating the out of these Greek raids for like 9 months now. And we're just getting stronger. Like ISO 8s came out.
The trick or treat event, brother. Now, I'm seeing this. You could vote for Trick for Mr. Sinister, Treat for Minerva. On Halloween, you'll get shards, gear, training modules to every Marvel Strike Force player. This surprises me. I don't know if you could see the poll results so far. Minerva is winning.
Of course she is.
66% to 33%. Why would anyone want a farmable character over a character that is unfarmable? Or by Scopely definition, she's an orb, she's farmable. But by more player definitions, not unfarmable. Why would someone want Sinister over Minerva?
Okay, let's look at it from my perspective.
Okay.
Do I want Minerva shards? No. My Sinister is in 7-star. Give me those 15 Sinister shards. So my vote would go personally for Sinister. That said, I understand that I'm Tony and there's, 500,000 other players in this game, and 15 Minerva shards is probably a reasonable amount of Minerva shards for a lot of players. So while I agree with you, I will say this is the first choice of damnations they've ever given us. Usually it's like, do you want Minerva or Kree Oracle? And we're like, dude, come on. Do you want Carnage or Nebula? And we're like, duh. This one is actually a choice. Like, it's Minerva. Sinister and Minerva are very good at very different things, right? Sinister is farmable, but harder to get for a lot of players because war credits don't come as freely. As
good drops in the premium orbs? What are you talking about?
But on the other side, like, to me, like, this was never not going to be Minerva. Sorry for everyone who voted for Sinister. I'm saying that knowing that I want 15 Sinister shards. But at the same time, like, this is a choice. This is a mean choice. Like, They knew Minerva was going to be picked.
Trick is for Sinister, Treat is for Minerva. Yeah. So they know.
The gift is Minerva.
They know.
I don't know. Whatever. Honestly, like I said, this is the first time it was actually a choice. And it was a reasonable choice of characters. And they were still just like, no, it's Minerva. Now, if it was like Sinister and like X-23, that's a choice I want to see. Do you want the character that helps you unlock a legendary that's in the war store, or the really good character that's in the war store? You pick. Sif, like, they could do so much better with these choices that you can very clearly
if you
tell
make it from the same farming location, it makes it more difficult. So I think it would be cool if they do something like that from the same location. Like, which war store character do you want?
It's 15 shards. It's never been more than 15 shards.
I love 15 shards of Minerva. Think about that. That's like 1,500 premium, what are that, power chords. That's 1,500 power chords they're giving away. This is a huge value, dude.
I can't.
So we have another She-Hulk Blitz coming up, and as we talked about, the community very apathetic for this character. I've seen very mediocre reviews of this Fantastic War defense team. They could be punched up on with the original Fantastic Four team, which is kind of funny. Not really holding, but I've also seen some other reviews that they're holding and doing some good things. What is your interpretation of this Fantastic Four team with She-Hulk on war defense, or are they better used on offense? And if not, where should people use her? Is there any use for her if she's not a good in war with this Fantastic Four team?
No.
Bad character. Just no.
No. Like, just no. That's it. That's all I have to say. Like, I don't know. Like, listen, they have metrics, right? So there's numbers that they have that say like people buy. I think what they're not doing is separating the people who will spend money no matter what, like you and me, and then the people who are like, my money actually has value and I don't necessarily have it to spend on a game all the time. $50.
That's why they made it, because they knew how apathetic.
They knew everyone was gonna buy her, and everyone who was like on the fence wasn't, or might have bought her for $25. But like even at $50, all they needed to do was make sure that everyone who was going to buy her still bought her, and that probably held true. And it made up for everyone who didn't buy her at 25. And if they bought two offers, it made up for 3 people. No,
I've
but
heard
like,
the whales are not really building their She-Hulk. Maybe they are now that Anti-Venom's released, but
we don't want war defense characters. We don't want them. The community.
I heard she's not even that good on war defense. She doesn't even make them that good, is what I've seen from the screenshots.
She's not better on defense than Namor is on offense.
So where do you use her? Nowhere. Trash teams.
Put her on the Young Avengers. Who cares?
$50 for a trash team Young Avenger character.
And you know what? Someone's gonna say, "Well, mine is like this, and she does this, and she gets me this many defense wins." And great, power to you, man. But every time if I see a She-Hulk, which I've only seen like 3 or 4 in War, we're just like, let me be clear. I like the idea of taking one character and turning a team from offense to defense. I think that is a phenomenal idea. She-Hulk was not for me, and I will be the first person to admit it. She-Hulk was not a character for Tony.
I don't think it was a character for the MSF community. Reoccurring milestones. Now, we've had these milestones in the past. In the previous blog post 2 weeks ago, they said that they're removing some milestone orb fragments, replacing them with basic T1 ISO 8 orb fragments with the next Emma Frost iteration. There's a couple interesting things in here. They're going back on that, and they're keeping it with the milestone orb fragments. But the other interesting thing is starting with the next iteration of the Emma Frost event. Now, they hadn't previously said it's going to be 3 times. They said it was 3 times for Symbiote Spider-Man, but kind of left it open for Emma Frost. And now they're saying they're not going to make a change for the second run of Emma Frost, and they talk about the next iteration. So, a couple things here. What do you prefer? Do you prefer these milestone orb fragments where we could actually get the character shards of the character that we want, or do you prefer these ISO 8 fragments? And is it exciting that we know that Emma's coming back for a 3rd time after this one goes away?
So to answer your first question, I don't know how much I care about ISO 8s yet. And 3 months down the road, if all my characters are 3 or 4, ISO level 3, ISO level 4, and I'm not getting enough or farming enough to bring more characters up, and by all, I mean like maybe the top 10, 15 teams I use for stuff, because Kree ain't getting anything really. I don't know how important more ISOs are yet.
Well, milestone orb fragments, the only way we could get these is from milestones. The basic T1 ISO 8 orb fragments, we could get the pieces that are in those orbs, farming them every day. So I'm not sure why Fox Next Scopely would think this is more exciting, I guess is my point. Get something, removing something that's unfarmable, making it and replacing with something that's farmable is kind of where my brain is going with this.
I do hear you on that. And I'm just saying right now we're getting a ton of free orbs. We have calendars that are giving out free orbs. It is farmable, but it's, you can still only farm the nodes once a day, or there's 2 different nodes and everything. You do have some control, but not a great deal of control. Like I said, what I don't know is where the ISO 8 bottleneck is going to be. So I'm happy with where we are right now. I'm happy with the amount we're getting right now. I'm still able to bring up a character every day or 2 to where I want them to be, and that's great. But I can't say that it's better or worse. What the issue with Milestone Orbs is that, for me, the only character in there of any value to me is Symbiote Spider-Man, and I opened like 75 the other day and got 15. And every day I open them, I don't think I've pulled more than 5.
That makes you ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you are.
And I didn't do it when it was like the SWIP. I didn't do it when it was 30%. I did it later. Yeah. So the Milestone Orb just doesn't have anything new, so it does need to be refreshed. And I look forward to whatever
those trading orb fragments.
Yeah, it's the,
I like those. I know you don't need those,
those,
but I need those.
Yeah, no, it's the other stuff that matters to me. It's the other stuff that, like, the stuff you can get on the side, like the Elite 4 credits and stuff like that. Those matter to me in Milestone Orbs. But the character shards, yeah, I get it. Every orb is another chance, but you know me, I hate that much. I hate layered RNG.
This is the farmable character that we're getting the first Wednesday of October, brother.
Don't even. Don't you dare.
That's what they said.
I think it's a travesty that they think Symbiote Spider-Man is farmable.
All right, it is rumor time, and there's a lot of rumors that are floating around. Some have already been talking about on this channel, but I haven't talked about it with you, my brother. So I do want to talk. Let's start with Quantum Team. What have you been hearing about this Quantum Team? Latest that we've heard on this show is 2 females, 1 male coming. Do you have names? What are the names that you're hearing about this Quantum Team?
Yellow Jacket, Stature, Ghost, Tech, Bio. I believe Stature is Bio, but I'm not 100% on that. As the team, I've heard they're needed to unlock another legendary. I do not know which legendary, but I do feel that's it. I know that Ant-Man and Wasp are both getting reworks to no longer interact only with each other, but to interact specifically with Quantum characters or members of the Quantum team, whether it's everybody or whether it says like Quantum Heroes, because there's 2 villains technically on the team. I've heard that they are a war defense team. I don't know if they are I don't know if they are tagged war defense or if they are just better on war defense because of the evades and everything. But that team is going to be not so much a raid team, more of a war defense.
So from a marketing standpoint, what you're saying makes sense. The team that people don't want to buy, they don't want to have more war defense. They're going to be forced to buy that because it's used to unlock a legendary. So even if it's an unexciting team, they're still going to unlock legend. Now, as far as this legendary unlock, you said you don't know who. Do you want to give any predictions on who you might think? Any characters that you've heard names of that it could be?
I've heard a lot of names.
Okay.
Whether I've heard it from people or from sources or whatever, I'll tell you who it's not.
Okay.
It is definitely not Blade.
Okay.
And it is 90% sure not Black Knight, who is from the Eternals team.
Was that supposed to align with the movie that when it was coming out?
To my knowledge, Dr. Octopus was supposed to be Black Knight. Not the team that unlocked him, just the Dr. Octopus event. Because that lined up with when the Eternals movie was supposed to originally come out. But at the same time, Taskmaster, Black Widow, Red Guardian, all of those characters that tied in with Black Widow was supposed to come all the way in March. And then guess what happened? That movie got pushed back to November and now got pushed back again. So things get pushed back that are outside of the control. To my knowledge, could be wrong, Doc Ock was a holdover legendary. And that kind of holds the statement that a lot of people feel where Doc Ock was like good, but not great. Like didn't really hold up to the legendary tag, especially after, Black Bolt and Maw. Yeah. And that was because it was supposed to be a different character. So to my knowledge, they're not changing everything around. Okay. It's not going to be Black Knight and it's not going to be Blade. Everything I saw about Blade. But there is some characters it could be. Technically, it could be MODOK. I know I've seen MODOK in the designs.
Talked about it before. It has
I've
been mentioned
seen-
on cryptic Facebook messages on that official Marvel Strike Force Facebook account previously. So
I know Gambit is not a legendary, but I've been hearing more and more that Rogue would be. That's not necessarily. I expect Rogue to be next year, around February, if that makes sense. Whether she's legendary or not, I truly cannot say. But yeah, to my knowledge, the next patch is supposed to be. Originally, I thought it was the mutants. It's not. It's the Quantum team. This next patch should be either next week, the 26th, or the week after, and it should lead us all the way through December, because you guys remember every December is the long haul patch that just introduces everything. Okay. So that's my knowledge of what's going on, or at least that's what I'm doing. So when you come in to see me stream, and those Quantum characters go live, I will be buying those offers. I will be blitzing for them because I suspect that, and I wouldn't tell you I suspect something and not live by it. You know.
Now, is from what you're hearing, is probably unlocking legendary, or it's looking like it's gonna be that way?
I am buying them to 5-star.
Okay.
So I believe it's going to unlock a legendary. The last time I said something like this, I said buy the X-Force because they will be unlocking a legendary.
Nice. Okay. All right.
And to make a little bit of an argument, the last couple of legendaries, with the exception of specifically Ebony Maw, maybe not specifically him, but the last couple of legendaries have had 2 characters that have been in the game for a long time and 3 new characters. Black Bolt had that. Doc Ock had that. That seems to be the way they push value on characters that have fallen by the wayside. Okay. So that's a little bit of evidence for someone who might be skeptical on this, that like it stands to reason they've done this before. They're probably going to do this again.
All right. Now, well, the reasoning makes sense.
I mean, I'm buying it. If I'm wrong, then I'm out. Whatever the $150 it's going to cost.
Okay. Cool. Well, guys, you're getting a little taste of some rumors, and if you want to make decisions based on that, then do it. If not, then hold off and don't.
Yeah, who am I? I'm some nobody. Don't trust me.
You're a big Doctor Doom fan, and that brings me to the next rumor that he is coming in the next update, or at least Dark Dimension 4. Maybe nobody's unlocking him for a long time, but at least Dark Dimension 4 and the possibility to unlock Doom, rumored to be coming in this next update. Are you doing anything to prepare for this at this time, or are you going to wait to see something official?
So what I know about Dark Dimension 4. This is just what I know.
Okay.
You need to be level 80. You need to have Gear Tier 15 characters. I know that Gear Tier 15 takes 25 of the unique. 25. And there are 3 new pieces being added to the game.
Okay.
3 that we cannot currently farm. And those will be, I don't know if it's 3 per or 3 total, but each character, like the mini uniques, are done at 14. You might need a handful for like a piece or 2 on a character, but that's no longer the bottleneck. The new bottleneck is going to be these new mini uniques or micro uniques or your Uber uniques.
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. We'll come up with a new name for this stupid bottleneck. And the reason why is because they don't want people to go straight from I'm here to I now have this character and now it's done. That's what I know about Dark Dimension 4. Everything else is just speculation and rumor. I believe that Dark Dimension 4 will be introduced to the game in this next patch, which means we can see it. I don't believe people will be able to enter it, not just because of level restriction. I think that with Dark Dimension 4 in this next patch, we'll get the level cap increase, finally. I think that, ISO 8's kind of, they wanted their own patch for it, and honestly, the Symbiotes kind of deserve their own stuff. But I think that we're going to get the level cap increase. I think it's going to take the average player more than a few months to reach that level cap increase.
To get to 80?
Yeah, to get to 80, yeah. I think it's going to be very expensive, somewhere in the 3 million range, to bring a character from 75 to 80. And that's not including the things we've talked about getting the gear tier up to 14 or 15 rather. And then I think that it's going to not just be a team of 5 characters. I think they were very happy with the amount of time it took people to get through Dark Dimension 3. So I think that they're going to require
a bunch
characters at different stages. Like I've heard a while ago that it was origin tagged. So my preparation, honestly, I finished Dark Dimension 3 once, upgraded a handful of characters to make my second run easier. I'm almost done with Dark Dimension 3 too. I'm spending literally none of those resources until I see what I need for Dark Dimension 4. That's when I'm going to start ramping up and changing everything. I don't expect to be one of the first people in or the first people to beat it. I'm doing everything I can reasonably, trying to spend as least money as possible in order to make sure that I'm having a decent time. And if I'm right about Origins, or what I heard was right about Origins, then I'm very happy to have like certain mutants at a key spot and certain tech characters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that is completely speculation. What I've already said I've known, that I know is happening, and I believe it's coming out this next patch. I just don't know if Dark Dimension will immediately be accessible or if there'll be a timer that doesn't allow people to enter even if they were at the level for like 30 days or something.
Okay. All right. And it's always fun talking rumors about you. You seem to know more than you let on, but I got to say, you are looking very sus, my friend.
Listen, I just say vote us both off and 50-50, and we'll just keep going on from there. I'll do my task as a ghost.
Cool. Well, let's do it. Let's sabotage everybody. And that's kind of a teaser for this Saturday, guys. We're playing Among Us again, and hopefully you could join us on stream. Tony will be streaming on his channel. I'll be streaming on my channel. So stop by and see who gets voted off first. A bunch of other people as well. I can't think of everybody off the top of my head, but should be a fun one. Anything else that you're doing that you want to promote, brother?
Nope.
Okay. well, there are links to all of Tony's stuff in the description, guys. Even if he doesn't want to talk about it, there's links. You can check him out. Discord, Twitch, YouTube, everything. He's all over the place. Thank you for joining me. It is always fun talking to you. We got to do this more often. We got to do this more often, bro.
We can do this all the time.
But it's been like 3 or 4 weeks, so we got to do this more often. Even just normal videos, maybe not even just the news, just some other random.
Well, you're going to be a
videos.
part of my new series, right? We talked about it.
Wait, are you promoting something finally? What is this that you're talking about?
So there's a series that's kind of a secret that's coming out real soon.
It's not a secret anymore.
Yeah, right. Wait, you told people?
You're telling people right now. What do you think?
Yeah, well. There's a series that's coming out. It's going to come out about once a month. It's going to come out roughly around the same times that the Marvel Strike Time updates come out.
Ooh.
And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about it.
Sweet.
But maybe within a day or two of them coming out. But you're going to see a lot of your favorite content creators in them, because I talked to them and they said it was a great idea.
Nice.
So
looking forward to it.
Get ready to see maybe some Decimal Point Jeffs weighing around.
Oh, all right, guys. All right, so yes, finally, after how many times on this channel, finally I got you to promote something, brothers. So glad. So check him out, guys, and check out the upcoming series that he's doing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We do this, your Marvel Strike Force video. Your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update every single week, guys. And if you like it, make sure you subscribe. If you are listening to the podcast version, make sure you go into whatever app you're using. You leave it a 5-star review if you enjoy this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share this with your friends. All of the normal stuff, guys. The notification bell, everything. And check me out. I stream every morning on Twitch. Hulk Fist Bump Tony, ValleyFlyin, and Tony Scungili out.